Oh, good morning. Welcome to Lincoln Park. How's everybody doing? We got January. Clean off the lens here. Getting that glare on the LED lights. We got January the 29th, 2026 here. We got 6:41 in the AM. And we got about 5 degrees. We'll say 5 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 15 Celsius. So there's looking up Lakeview. Again, Lincoln Park, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. Here's the Fullerton Parkway in Lakeview. Lakeview becomes Sheridan once you go north of Diversey. And so we'll walk over towards the lake. It looks like there's clouds. I don't know if we're going to get a clear shot to the sunrise on the horizon. You can't tell if there's a gap in the clouds. Probably not, because of the lake effect snow that usually hits Michigan. So it looks like we got some overcast skies. I briefly got excited because I have windows to face to the east, and it looked like it was going to be an amazing dramatic sunrise, but now that I'm walking over there, it looks like it's much more cloudy than I anticipated. So Winter, how you doing there? Chanel, good morning. Then taking the day off. I would like to take the day off. I'm working from home today. If that's what, I guess working from home means taking the day off. I understand. That's what it seems like sometimes when people are like, "Oh, you damn people that work from home, you don't work as much." I know. I do usually go in the office. You know what I mean. Hey, thanks for tuning in there. Appreciate you know. CJ's mom, how you doing? Here's a Uber going through here. Yeah, Jessica, Krista, James. There's people waiting. It's the bus stop that I usually, if it's raining or something, I'll catch the express bus that'll head downtown. Get the 134, 143, will get you downtown, and the 5 takes Lakeshore Drive. But man, I'm hoping maybe there's a gap. Maybe there might be a gap. We might see a interesting sunrise, or probably not. It's probably only a 15% chance we'll see a true horizon sunrise. But even was it yesterday? Yeah, I guess it was yesterday. We lost my phone batteries are being pushed to their limits with the cold weather. They'll precipitously drop. Like, I'm now fully charged, but they don't last as long in the cold weather, the lithium batteries. Hey, Scott's tuning in. Lindsay, James, Krista, CJ's mom, Jessica, thanks everybody. Chanel, let's see who else. 3PNK, how you doing there? Thanks for watching the streams there. Scott G, how you doing? Yeah, I remember when you came in, we walked around the Millennium Park and Maggie Daly. We did that yesterday. You see the river? The river's got ice chunks in it. I guess the icebreaker comes through there. It freezes every night, and then the icebreaker goes through there and breaks up all the ice. And it hopefully flows downstream, but yeah. So we'll head over to the Lake Michigan. Tony, how you doing? Yeah, user, good morning. Yeah, on the road again. I know, it's the cycle never ends, you know. And I know, why do I do this? I don't even need to. I'm working from home today. I could just be like sleeping in, having my breakfast, watching the morning talk shows. But you know, this motivates me to get out and about. And so if I'm gonna head to the grocery store. I'm gonna go to the lake, see the sunrise, and then we'll walk into Lakeview and go to the grocery store. So this strip will serve a purpose. Then I'll go back home, do some work, and most of the time I'm just walking to and from the office downtown. But I could go downtown. I could easily go into the office. It's getting really dicey with, you know, it's amazing how, you know, it shows you we're going through a true crisis moment in America, whereas it's very tense at work. People I work with are divided on what's happening in Minnesota. So there's people just like where you might work or where you might live, or your family or your cousins or your even families, even married couples are divided, where one married couple will be on one side and the other spouse will be on the other. We work, they said, don't talk. I'm a highly emotional feeling person, which is not rational sometimes. And by someone trying to engage with me with the discussion of simply trying to talk about what happened to Alex Preddy, I just lose it when people demonize the guy that was killed. You know, it's just, yeah, he wasn't a perfect person. I saw the video. I didn't see it right away. The video where a week and a half ago he was kicking out the tailgate and spitting at ICE. To me, that doesn't change anything about what I feel about Alex Preddy. He was a flawed person. He still didn't deserve to die. That's what I'm saying. That's you know, for someone to say, oh, but he kicked out the taillight, that's why justifies a murder. I reject that argument. They're just trying to defame because they're so afraid that, you know, like George Floyd, the other side, the current administration, that not just Alex Preddy, but Nicole Good and the many other people that we should name just as much that died, or this even possibly includes people that were affected in Ernesto's family, you know, the collateral damage, that we've become so locked in our political positions that we can't even. And so I'm working from home to avoid political discussions at work about Alex Preddy. I said it. I can't talk to my HR about it because I feel like my HR is on the side of the current administration, where they protect corporate power and they just want people to be autonomous robots that don't think and just accept and follow orders, I think, is what, you know. And when America, it never used to be about this, where everybody's supposed to fall in line. I commend Rand Paul. Rand Paul profiles in courage. It shows how he's different than the MAGA conservatives. He's a true libertarian. He is anti-war machine, and he actually believes it. He's calling out, this is Rand Paul, Republican, sticking it to Marco Rubio yesterday, questioning why it wasn't an act of war. And Marco Rubio sat there and squirmed and looked like he was on cocaine, you know, and it's got to be hard to, you know, but that's that. He wants that position. He wants to run the Department of Defense. He's got to answer the tough questions. And, you know, I'm saying something positive about a Republican, Rand Paul. He's actually standing up to his own administration. That's harder to do, you know, and do you see the Democratic, especially the guy in New York City that voted to increase ICE funding? They're getting destroyed in their town hall meetings. They're just getting, there's no way anybody that voted for ICE as a Democrat is going to get reelected. And they should know that now. And no matter how they rationalize it and try to explain their vote as if they only voted for ICE because they were voting for FEMA and other funds, that it shows you how weak the Democrats are. And we know this. And I'm not trying to talk about politics all the time. I have to talk about it because I cannot talk about this at work. I cannot talk about my coworkers. Some of my coworkers are on the opposite side of this issue than me. And they'll out of nowhere make demonizing statements about Alex Preddy to try to get my reaction, because it's like a trolling jab. It's like you're in high school and they're picking on your friend, you know. And in this case, our friend was killed, and you know, I did thankfully was able to speak about Ernesto because I wanted to make sure it was okay with him that I talked about how this impacted his family. And I know people don't want me to talk about this. We're heading, I don't think we're going to see a sunrise. It looks like it's clouding up here. So I might just head along the harbor or just walk. Let's just see if the lake is frozen. That might be the only thing that saves us, if the lake is frozen. The Diversity Harbor is frozen here. Sometimes you see people ice fishing out there. I have in years past. But if we show that, we'll try to get some video. Here's this nice view. You get to the John Hancock. Look at that. But talking about this stuff, to me, is therapy. To me, not talking about going through stressful times in your life or the world or anything is not healthy. It represses it. It doesn't, you know, I often think a lot of what people paid for psychiatrists and psychologists is just to pay to have someone listen to them complain and talk. And I appreciate you guys listening to me complain and talk because it's therapy for me. I used to send me a bill as my psychiatrist. Not that we're going to solve this thing, just by talking about it makes me feel better. Talking about it, trying to work it out in my mind, and I'm not trying to change your political persuasion. I'm trying to understand mine, and nothing challenges the way you stand on things. People will question it. Somebody last night, they asked me point blank. They said, "Do you support ICE?" Open question. If I ignore the question, people are like, "Why are you ignoring this question?" So I had to say, "No, I'm for border enforcement. I'm glad the border is more secure, but I'm not for what's going on in Minneapolis and these masked men running around. It's a Gestapo. It's a fear tactic. It's gone beyond its mission creep." And look how it affected Ernesto's family. Ernesto's 15-year-old teenage U.S. citizen was detained by ICE. They released him in the middle of the night in the cold Minneapolis without letting him call his parents. He was a minor. They detained him for 10 hours, and then the poor guy is so depressed after he hears about Alex Freddie, he takes his own life. And if that doesn't affect you emotionally, that this guy would not be dead if it wasn't for the policies of the Trump administration. We talk about prohibition. Innocent people died as a result of the Volstead Act. People that weren't even alcoholics, women, girls, little kids were bombed. Watch the beginning of the Untouchables with the prohibition gangs trying to blow up bars that wouldn't accept their racketeering. They would blow up innocent people in the bars. That actually happened. And so they try to solve one societal ill of people getting drunk and the ills that causes on families and societies, mainly a man problem, which is, I admit, and force it upon all society, and it leads to unintended consequences. And eventually prohibition was overturned, not because drinking is a great thing to do. It's because the cruelty of the enforcement of the law was impossible, and it led to more crime. And when the state is potentially the one causing the crime, even though they're trying to get into other crime, but two crimes don't make a right. Here's the skyline of Chicago. Here's we're on the, hey, somebody's riding a bike here. 5 degrees, negative 15 Celsius, Chicago, Illinois. We got January the 29th, 2026. And hey, we're almost through January, so if we can get through January, February is a short month, and then we can get to March. Once we get to March, we can start thinking about spring. But not now. Hey, look at that skyline. How you doing there? How's everybody doing? Good morning. There's no point, Collins. Please delete my channel. Never watch my channel again. If you don't get my channel, delete it. It's not worth your time. I'm a horrible person. You won't like me. Please don't follow my channel. There's no point to this. So what's the point of you watching me just walk around here? You're right. Watch something else. I agree. Here's Lake Michigan. The point is, I'm just showing what's happening in Chicago. That's all it is. Little scenes into my stupid life. You know, there's many things about this. I have self-loathing. You know, I have self-loathing like everybody else. Or not everybody. Some people don't have self-loathing. I'm envious of those people that are smug and conviction in their own greatness. Hey, the Lake Michigan's not frozen over. It shows you how hard it is for the lake to freeze over, because I got all excited on Sunday when the snow was sticking to the top of the water, and it appeared that the lake was frozen over, but it wasn't. Or if it was, whatever ice blew back out into the lake. But they saw an iceberg. Remember, we saw an iceberg last year by North Avenue Beach. There. Good morning, Nebraska. How you doing? Thanks, Dan. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. What's the point of TikTok? What's the point of YouTube? What's the point of all this talking and watching? It's just human interaction. This is the new way we interact with the world. It's not the only way. I still prefer face-to-face human interaction in real life, in real time. I'm not crazy about AI, but we're all going to start having relationships with AI. AI is going to become our new friend. We're going to have a whole we're going to have a whole generation of kids that are going to be raised by AI. They'll probably want to hang out with AI more than other humans. These AI will treat them nicer than humans do. AI wants their money. And then so every new person in America will have a relationship with a social media company for the rest of their lives, where it'll be like a spouse or a partner or a sibling. Already my nephews talk to Alexa like it's a friend. And it's, you know, once it's in a little robot or a cute dog talking to you with AI, people are going to divorce their spouses and live with their robotic partner that will attend to their every need and whim. Imagine the AI prostitution rings. It's going to get really weird. But hey, such is life. We talk about. This is what we do. I'm trying to turn this into like a radio station. This is my little vlog. You see, here's where the lakefront bike path splits. There's the walkings on this side, the bike path on this side. We always show these sunken heads here. They look interesting in the snow. Yeah, Nebraska, how you doing there? Name of the game. Yeah, this is a video game. Philippines, how you doing there? Thanks, KNP. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in for the Philippines. So we're in Chicago. This is Lake Michigan. And sun's supposed to rise at 7:05, but unless it hits that little, maybe the sun will go in that little gap. It'll be probably closer to 7:20. Here, let's look at these sunken heads. Yeah, WLUP, you're right. Is that still exists? I think the loop changed, right? I used to listen to the loop radio station. But there, Indira Freitas Johnson, 10,000 ripples. 2016, we've shown this many times. Here's the sunken heads near the Sabre Lakeshore Drive, near the shores of Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We're north of Fullerton. That's Lincoln Park in the background. That's where I live. So thanks for tuning in. There it is. Hey, Chicago's tuning in. How you doing, Carter? Connecticut, yeah. How you doing there in Connecticut? So I hear one glimmer of, to me, and this might be negative news to you, but I'm just reporting the news. There's indication, Susan Collins tweeted this morning that ICE is suspending their operations in Maine. And that doesn't mean they're over. They'll probably just moved to a different state. And again, let me reiterate my stance on this so people are clear. Let us celebrate that the border is more secure. People were so aghast that they thought America had national security threats because of the unsecured border. We have a secure border. We have an enforcement agency fully funded to go after the hardened criminals. I am okay with them going after people in prisons, even if they're protected by the sanctuary city. I'm okay with that are already convicted of crimes, deporting them. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them going after hardened criminals. I'm not them just going door to door, getting people going to work, people that are on pathway to citizenship. And it affects whole communities, like what happened to Ernesto. People get profiled and detained. I'm against that. I'm against the Supreme Court saying it's okay to profile people. That's an exemption because they want to excuse them from liability and lawsuits. And trust me, there already are hundreds of lawsuits for civil rights violations of the First and Fourth Amendment. I'm against that. Unlawful search and seizures. I'm against mask people. If ICE is proud of what they're doing, they should take the mask off. I feel for their families. I feel for them being doxxed, but the whole American country is being doxxed by ICE right now. And it's not fair. It's not right. Public sentiment's shifting. And we'll see if anything changes. But other stupid things are going on. There was a raid with Tulsi Gabbard on the Georgia. Why are we talking about the 2020 election still in 2026? They want to, it's preparation of messing with the 26 midterms. Trust me, Trump wants to prove that he won the 2020, to create doubt in people's minds about they can trust our voting, polling, and elections. And so we have, and why is Tulsi Gabbard doing it? She's just trying to kiss up to her dear leader. She's been pushed out of meetings, and she so desperately needs to get the attention of her dear leader there. I just never understand how these people like Marco Rubio and Tulsi Gabbard suck up the power, and they're so good at it. Bunch of teachers' pets. Here's the Trumpster teacher. Hey, here's Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We got 5 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 15 Celsius. Look at the ripples of the water. Yeah, we're not going to see a sunrise. I really hoped it would be like in the Gap or something, but we got, not only is we're not going to see a sunrise, there's the lake is not frozen over. So nothing new to report here. We'll stay warm and dry. Miss Danny, how you doing there? BP's Truth, Coco, Chicago for life. That's good. Hey, Wes, how you doing? Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with you, Wes. It doesn't require the cruelty. Yeah, it's gone. We see how it's trying to see if Americans will accept the Gestapo constantly roaming around, and even if people assume this would be temporary, it seems like this wants to be a permanent feature of this administration to have these masked goons, and I call them. It's kind of how the brown shirts started in after the Weimar Republic founded. And now I understand why Trump liked the Hells Angels bikers, because he wanted them to be his security there, like at Altamont. Here's the skyline of Chicago. We're heading up towards the Percy Harbor. We got cloud cover here. My weather app was completely wrong. My weather app said sunshine all morning. There's no sunshine. I guess we got clouds over Lake Michigan is what it is, and the sunshine's all in the western suburbs. You been up all night? Coco. Tom Homan. Yeah, let's see what comes out of the Tom Homan news conference. Supposedly he met with Waltz, the governor of Minnesota, and I'll say one thing about Tom Homan. At least he didn't rush to judgment and demonize Alex Preddy, and he was against them the way they characterized Renee Good, because he knows it tainted the investigation. It's not the professional way. You don't weigh in until a bipartisan investigation. State officials should be able to investigate a murder crime in their jurisdiction. It's purposely creating mistrust between the federal government and the local authorities. And we got separations of power between the states, the local home rule. That's why sanctuary cities exist. They're punishing Minneapolis and Minnesota. They're trying to extract concessions and force Minnesota, literally almost, by terrorizing their own citizens. They're seeing it. Political will be on, pressure will be on the Democrats to cave, but so far it's backfired, and the political pressure is on the Republicans to cave on their overly aggressive tactics. And even Republican senators are finally starting to break slightly gaps between, be critical of their own administration, at least on this one issue. Let's just, single out ICE. I'm not, this is the biggest flashpoint right here. Here's Percy Harbor. There's the Chevron, and we'll head right in through. We'll go underneath here. Hey, we've seen snow. Is there snow in Texas? I know it got cold down there. Yeah, Gestapo, Stasi in Minnesota. I'm glad you see what's going on there. Yeah, no group is monolithic. The left is divided, the right's divided. I see some of your comments there, people. I do the same thing. There are conservatives that are against what Trump's doing, and there's not many people on the left that are supporting anything that's going on here. There, we're back to the lakefront bike path across Diversity Harbor. Good morning, how you doing? So Trump can't run again in 2028. If Trump can run again, so can Obama. Obama would kill Trump in the election. He would be a landslide. And so if Trump can run for a third term, so can Obama. And I think Obama might do it now because he started this crap too. And he's younger and he's smarter than the current president. And that's why they can't stand the guy. You know, he talks like a professor. They're like a guy that dumbs everything down. Hey, look at that. There's the nice, look at this light. These are the Art Deco style light beacons on either side of this. And see how, when this was built, they had the foresight to have an extra, I don't know if this was, I don't think this was initially intended as a bike lane. It probably was an access drive, or probably was one of the original bridges. They just added to it. I'll have to look into the history of this bridge. Yeah, thanks to my mods. Thanks for, you know, and some of them might be robotic bots. I used to have, like, feel sorry for people if they got blocked, but half of them are not even real people. It's just like, TikTok is infested with bots. Elon Musk admitted it when he bought Twitter. He wanted the price reduction because he said, I'm not paying for a bunch of bots. Because he knew Twitter, now X, is infested with a bunch of bots. Just programmed. They act like humans. They respond to your comments. You can ask them a question, they'll talk back, just like ChatGPT. But some of them are real people. Because real people, just like me, I regurgitate propaganda. Real people regurgitate propaganda, both for the right and left. I do it too. I make mistakes. Here's the signal for peace. So here, welcome to Chicago. We're here near the mouth of Diversity Harbor. I think this is left over from the World's Columbian Exposition. It's a Western idealized statue of the mythic noble savage, which is a stereotype and signal for peace. But at least there's something that statue to the indigenous people. There's C.E. Dallin will look it up. I'm sure it was some sculpture that probably was in the Fine Arts building there at the World's Columbian Exposition, and they moved it here. We got so many things like that all throughout the city. Here's the skyline of Chicago. Here's the mouth of Diversity Harbor, and here's the Chevron. So I'm just going to head over to the grocery store. The sun's supposed to rise. Actually, the sun has already risen, but it's behind those clouds, and it can't burn through those clouds. So we'll just get you a nice view of the skyline. The lake is not frozen. We got about 5 degrees, negative 15 Celsius, January the 29th, 2026. We already made it. We almost made it through January. It's going to get slightly warmer, like to the 20s, maybe once to the 30s next week, which would be nice. Looks like there's an iceberg trying to form there. It looks like the ducks are sitting on. We'll go on this little overlook area here. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, the sun's up, but we can't see it. So, America tried to delude itself that it was a melting pot, and America doesn't melt that well. Talk to the Melungeons. Talk to the Creole people of Louisiana, where there was mixing of. There's only one race, the human race. I got to say that every time, but you know what I mean. The physical traits that people stereotype, how people look. Here's hey, look at that. There's a little ice trying to form there. The ducks are sitting on there. There you see the Navy Pier. There's the skyline of Chicago, United States of America, planet Earth there. Hey, we can see over to the Sears Tower, to the John Hancock. There we go. Diversity Harbor, 5 degrees, negative 15. We got 7:10 in the AM, Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, there's so many trolls because I'm talking about politics. Anytime I talk about politics. So, you know, just let it slide by. It goes off into the ether. Welcome to my world. I've been live streaming on TikTok for 3 years. I've been live streaming on YouTube for 2 years. And no matter what you talk about, you're going to get pushback, you know, and especially now we're living through and everybody's just being reactive. Everybody's, you know, internalizes, how does this affect me? I'm the same way, you know, when real people have died and real people are still being affected by the policy. And here, I'm going to head to the grocery store. So, hey, we'll leave the lakefront here, the Silvery Lake. We tried to catch the sunrise, but it's behind the clouds, so we'll head back into Lakeview and we'll go to the grocery store. Hey, there's the Chevron. Hey, let's walk behind it here. Let's see what it looks like with the skyline. We're all here because we're not all there. That's a good, I like that. I'm kind of crazy. Yeah, this is Chicago. Thanks for watching from Utah. That's great. Yeah, I was talking to somebody yesterday about the Sundance. I didn't realize the Sundance Festival, this was the last year. I'm kind of sad about that. I guess, as they framed it, and I didn't realize it was, they said, oh, the liberals stole it from us. They're taking it to Boulder, Colorado. And I'm like, you know, I have no problem going to Utah. I have never felt unwelcome as a liberal in Utah. I don't know why Sundance has to move. I think just like with the Bears, you know, trying to build a new stadium, I think Boulder must have made them an offer and stole Sundance from Utah, and they saw an opportunity, and that's all it is. But you can still go to Utah and see the nice. You can go to Utah and see the nice, or experience the skiing, the powder skiing, and wintertime. Salt Lake City's still a beautiful city, and the whole state there. Let's go over to, let's go under DuSable Lakeshore Drive, and we'll head back in Lakeview. Yeah, here's the Chevron. There's the skyline of Chicago, Diversity Harbor, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth, 7:13 in the AM, 5 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 15 Celsius. If you like this information, hit the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Thanks for being up early, up late. Some people stayed up all night. There you see the ice on the pilot, or the shore wall there. Yeah, the Chevron. Isn't that nice? The sculpture. That used to be in somebody's yard. It used to be, I think it was in the sculptor, the artist's yard. And eventually the park district moved to here, which I'm glad they did. It looks like a windmill. Like when you're down there, you look up, you're like, look, there's a windmill. And then you get there and it's just a sculpture. You know. But it's a nice, prominent location. It adds to the interest of the... Otherwise, the lakefront's pretty stark. It's just this minimalist, flat horizon. Yeah, love has no religion. Yeah, love is a universal thing that exists, even with greater power. That's why I posted, there was a guy, I can't think of his name, he's running for Illinois State Senator. And he gave a speech there. We went to a vigil for Renee Good 3 weeks ago. And he quoted Dr. Martin Luther King. He gave that speech that Dr. Martin Luther King gave, the same words that, you know, what's greater than state power? The power of love, the power of community, people helping each other out. The cruelty of any policy will not stand the test of time, no matter how noble the tenets or the justification by law. Cruelty is cruelty. And when people see kids, women being pushed to the ground, people being murdered in streets over their exercising their rights, I know people don't like, they want to criminalize protesting. That's what's next. That's what the Insurrection Act is about, criminalizing protesting. And that's usually something we cherished as a right in America. Here's the ducks. The ducks, or these are the geese. This is the geese. There's a few ducks in there. Mainly geese sitting on the ice here underneath DuSable Lakeshore Drive at Diversity Harbor here. Hey, they're honking for you. How you doing? Good morning. Hey, here's Diversity Harbor. It's all frozen. We'll get the nice skyline view as we head in here. 7:15. Normandy Beach, yeah. Yeah, this is what you get for voting for Trump. Chaos. Some people love this. People in the stock market, billionaires, You hear any of the billionaires saying anything negative? No, they love this. They know their head's not going to get cracked. They know they're going to be protected by the police power of the state. The state needs their money, even though they gave them a big tax cut. They just need their economic activity is what they need. And it's amazing how strong the economy is. I admit that. It's weird. There's all these layoffs, and the economy just absorbs it. But we don't know if we can trust the numbers either, especially by this administration. Here's the view of Diversey Harbor, Chicago, Illinois. See how it's frozen over? And I have in years past, once or twice, seen people out here ice fishing. I don't see anybody out here today. They cleared off the North Pond. They were doing ice hockey. We might check that out this weekend, see if they're still playing ice hockey, and got some cross-country skiing tracks there on the frozen pond. Coco, well, and Golden Nubian, thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, am I Che Guevara? Am I speaking for revolution? No, I'm pretty independent. You know, I lean to the left, but I can be critical of the Democrats as well. I do lean towards socialism, and I realize socialism has problems. I know I'm not like trying to take your property or redistribute your wealth that way. You know, I'm used to paying high taxes because I live in a high tax jurisdiction. I choose to live here. For most people, they're like, what's wrong with this guy? Why would you choose to live in Chicago, especially with their weather? But I like cities. I like New York. I like Chicago. I like LA. I saw Duran was streaming LA. I was envious. He's on his one wheel. It was warm. He's having the same problems as me. People covered their face. Duran's much more well known and loved and watched than I am in LA. He's on his one wheel. He's always up all night. He's got the police scanners. I see Alexander Chicago's been doing the police scanners. You can find out. He drives around almost like a stringer. But in the age of ice, people cover their faces when they see anybody, even a guy on a one wheel with a gimbal that's Duran wearing a helmet. They don't know if he's working for ICE or not. He's not. Duran. And I've experienced that too, and it just shows the paranoia, the fear. I talk about how someone was driving down a major thoroughfare. I don't even know what city it was, and there was somebody running literally for their life. Somebody was chasing them with a long gun, and it was some masked ICE guy, and he was like 40 feet behind him, and the guy was just staying. He was going from car to car. Please help me, please. No one would help him. No one would help him because if you help him, even if that guy with the gun might be in your car, breaking your window and throwing you, and you're in the gulag. And this is the psychology of wearing people down, testing the waters, seeing what people accept. And then people get mad at the people protesting because they're the true patriots. They're the ones standing up for your First, Second, and Fourth Amendment rights. And if you don't respect the opposition to it, you don't ever think that administrations could change. There could be a left-wing government that replaces this. You wouldn't want them going after your family this way. And as much as people complain about cancel culture and wokeness, we didn't do it at the point of a gun. And yes, people lost their job, but they didn't lose their life over wokeness. Come on. George Floyd's the only person that lost his life. No, not the only person. The people in Black Lives Matter, they're the ones that lost their lives. And their rights were violated. That's all it is, you know. And that's what was proven, at least by the laws that we're all forced to accept. So anyway, that's enough about this. So here we'll head through Lincoln Park here. We're at Lakeshore and Diversey. And we'll just head straight over to, we'll kind of walk through Lakeview here. There's St. Joseph Hospital. Look at the scale of this building. This is 2800 Lakeshore, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. Diversey and Lakeshore Drive. We got 5 degrees, negative 15 Celsius, 7:20 a.m. If you like that information, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs up. No, I'm joking. But here we'll head straight over to Sheridan. Yeah, so I know there's people that don't fear ICE. But all we're asking is to be empathetic to the people. There are innocent people being rounded up in this dragnet. I just want you to acknowledge that. We should all celebrate that the border's more secure. That's something that this administration can say a campaign promise they kept. What's the need? I want to ask you, what's the need for mass people terrorizing liberal cities? We know what the message is. Liberal cities get punished. It's a vindictive, they're trying to change the policies in Minneapolis and they'll say, we'll unleash the goons if you change your policies. And so it's the exercise of political power through real force. You see how this is a dangerous precedent. You see how people are not going to react to this well. And it's greater than the loss of life of 2 American citizens. We're battling for the soul of our country. And I know I'm not going to change your opinion. You're not going to change ours. I don't know how we move forward. Everybody's locked down and no one's changing their opinion. And we're headed for an even deeper battle over the existential nature of how our country's going to force this stuff. Here's a Mies van der Rohe building. Look at that. We're up 2800 North here. That's 2800 North, Lakeshore Drive. There's the St. Joseph Hospital. There's that Schwartz building, Milton Schwartz. There's the Mies van der Rohe. So much famous architecture in Chicago. I know it looks like, I'm not a huge fan of the international style. I think less is more. But Mies van der Rohe, they did make advances in the curtain wall and the structure. And it was cheaper to build these buildings. That's why there's so many glass boxes. And here's the view looking down Lakeview. See, Sheridan becomes Lakeview. Here's the Goethe statue. It's interesting, there's a Goethe statue in front of the Mies van der Rohe building. This was here before they built the building. They built this in like the late 1950s, early 1960s. And then this was here 1913, a year before World War I. There's the Hamilton statue. So there's the Alexander Hamilton statue right there. The gold statue south of Cannon Drive. This is the Goethe statue. Goethe was a German language writer. He wrote Faust, about the deal with the devil. We all feel like we made a deal with the devil here. Would you rather deal with the devil you know or the devil you don't know? The devil in the White City here. Here's Chicago with the white snow on the ground. There's Alexander Hamilton with the skyline of Chicago. Yeah, if there's nothing appealing about this, why are you watching? I don't want to see any comment from you. Change the channel. If you don't like this, change the channel. Don't just sit here and complain. Take some initiative and change your situation. That's what I'm trying to do. I complain a lot too, but this is my channel. And you're watching it. So you're going to hear what I say, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, it's your own fault that you're watching it. Here it is. You got millions and billions of channels. Whining from the peanut gallery. Here's the Elks Memorial. Look at the Elks Memorial here. So you find nothing appealing about a memorial to people that died in World War I and World War II? You find nothing appealing about that? Yeah, words that suck. Imagine you died in World War II and someone mocks your sacrifice. Donald Trump did that. He mocked the sacrifice of veterans of World War II. He mocked the sacrifice of our allies. Donald Trump mocked the service of British and Denmark military that supported us in NATO after World War II, or after 9/11. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here, 724. So hey, there's your great leader mocking the. He likes the military as long as they support, or as long as they protect him. As they should. He's the elected president of the United States. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve protection, but I just wish he wouldn't embarrass us on the national stage here. Because it is embarrassing. I got friends in Europe and they're like, why is he saying this? At least they're backing off of Greenland. At least you got to admit that the first month of 2026 was not a good month for the Trump administration. And it wasn't a good month for Alex Preddy, and it wasn't a good month for Renee Nicole Good. It wasn't a good month for Bolsonaro, whatever his name is. It wasn't a good month for Kristi Noem. It wasn't a good month for J.D. Vance. If you think this is helping out your party, tell them to keep doing it. Not that I want more people to die. I'm against political violence. I mean, look, you know, even the attack on Ilhan Omar is politicized at the highest levels. The president says she faked that, blaming the victim. You know, if you're elected, let Trump be Trump. Yeah, right. He wouldn't like that if that happened to Melania. You know, here's, and I wouldn't like it if it happened. It shouldn't have happened to Melania. It shouldn't happen to Ilhan Omar. The guy achieved nothing. We're just thankful it wasn't some acid or some worse pathogen in that thing. It was just a scare tactic. So here's Pine Grove. Here's Pine Grove and Diversity here. I like heading up this street because here, the Brewster, this is where Charlie Chaplin briefly lived. This is where they filmed Child's Play. Look, it has a historic plaque here. The Brewster Apartments. Enoch Turnock, 1893. Skeleton frame construction, commercial buildings. Heavy masonry walls. It has a nice interior. If you ever seen Child's Play or Running Scared with Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal, they have a shootout scene in there. They also use it in Child's Play, the Chucky movie. This is the Brewster. We're on Pine Grove at north of Diversity here, Lakeview, Chicago. And it's nice. It's got this little, I think there used to be like an awning here, but they just removed it. He's got this, the doors, the Brewster. Look at that rose-colored stone granite or whatever it is. Marble or granite, whatever it is. Grim Evil's tuning in. Hey, good morning. Yeah, they forgot to. I haven't been canceled. I haven't been canceled by YouTube or TikTok. Does that piss you off? You're going to call up YouTube and tell them to cancel me? You exercise your American values of canceling people's free speech that you disagree with. I know it was wrong that people on the right were canceled during Biden. I didn't do that. Biden did that, or Zuckerberg did that. Zuckerberg would try to suck up to the Biden administration. Now he's trying to suck up to the Trump administration. So he wants to do a cage match. I just find it interesting, in the year that 250th anniversary of America, we're going to be a nation divided, which is how we're going to celebrate 250th anniversary of America. We're going to be at each other's throats, yelling at each other, and how great can America be when we're all divided like this. And deep down, it must angry. I think the right are just angry, even though their guy's elected. I know you're happy with this, but you're angry that other people are angry, and we're not just laying down and accepting it, because you would not lay down if another administration would do this to you, and you would stand up for your First and Second and Fourth Amendment rights. And you're not going to silence me. And if I get banned from YouTube or TikTok, my life will still be a great life. My life is much more than doing this. It's almost like just a hobby. It's like a interesting look at Wolf. Wolf, he is a real guy, and he's a leftist, and people on the right hate the stuff he posts. He's critical of the administration. He had 1.1 million followers on TikTok. They canceled his main account. They canceled his back account that had 500,000. People are leaving TikTok in droves. So I hope Larry Ellison, they took the risk, they pay a financial risk. If everybody leaves TikTok, just like they left MySpace, and goes to other platforms, or people are downloading an Australian app. You know, it's like Instagram. I looked at it. I didn't download it. I think it's called Upscrolled or something. You can't live stream on it, so it doesn't have much utility for me. Hey, there's some gas lights here. There's some gas lights on, this is still Pine Grove, even though it did a little jog there. We're in Lakeview now, Lakeview, Chicago, heading up to the grocery store. So thanks for tuning in. We got 5 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 15 Celsius, Chicago, Illinois. And, yeah, this is my life. Leave me alone. We'll sing the Billy Joel song. I don't care what you say anymore. This is my life. We're all going to live our own reality. AI is going to make it possible. We'll be able to turn on, tune in, and drop out. Used to be people would take a drug. Now they'll just take AI, and then government they'll start cracking down on AI, and they'll have a DEA style AI enforcement. They'll have mass people. They'll see if they have AI on your phone, and they'll throw you to the ground. You're using AI. It's illegal. Only the government can use AI. You could trust the government. The government will never lie to you, manipulate you, try to use you in wars, leave you landing there, dying on a hill in Vietnam or Korea. Say, oh, we'll give your family a gold star. It was all worth it. And then the president gets elected and bashes your ancestors. Said that John McCain was a traitor because he surrendered. That's what the current president said about a prisoner of war in Vietnam that was shot down over Hanoi. And he was a Republican. Here's yeah, we always show these nice whitewashed townhomes. They're just painted white brick. Here's 507 West Oakdale. This is Oakdale Street, Lakeview, Chicago. Look at the Better Homes and Gardens. They still got the Christmas wreath, the red and white door, the snow. We might get some more snow tomorrow. I don't think it's going to amount to much, but here, Better Homes and Gardens here. These, so you can look back to Sheridan, Oakdale Street here, Lakeview, Chicago. 5 degrees. Streets are fine. Negative 15 Celsius. 7:32 in the AM. Central Time Zone. How you doing? It's a beautiful dog there. So you got these nice apartment buildings with the greenstone kind of ceramic tiles. Yeah, good morning, Jessica. Shreya, S-C-H-S-H-R-E-Y-A. Thanks for tuning in. Paul, Louisiana. Hey, thanks for tuning in from Louisiana. Yeah, Chris and I are hoping to take an Amtrak train to New Orleans after Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras, I think, is Fat Tuesday's the 17th of February. I think we're going the following weekend. Hotels still weren't cheap. And it would have been really expensive if we went during Mardi Gras. Hopefully the weather will be nice. But I'm just looking forward to taking an Amtrak trip. Chris knows how to take the Amtrak. We got a sleeping car. And so as long as I'll bring my Wi-Fi hotspot, we'll stream as much as we can on the train ride down to New Orleans. This is in February, about a month from now. And I love New Orleans. I love the history. I love, you know, the Garden District. You know, the French Quarter, everybody knows that, but you go up into Trim, you go up towards City Park, you get in some of the other neighborhoods in the beautiful tree-lined live oak trees. Even in wintertime, you go to Audubon Park, and we'll see what new developments are happening in New Orleans. Very historic city, beautiful, walkable, human scale. And it has a pretty significant downtown with large hotels. So, yeah, good morning. Yeah. Shreya Aurora. It's a beautiful name. Hey, thanks. Hopefully I came close. I'm notorious for mispronouncing stuff, so I apologize in advance. But hey, thanks for tuning in here. Here's Cesar, home of the killer margarita. We're on Broadway here. So it's 7:34. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the grocery store. We're going to go to Mariano's grocery store, and I'm not going to live stream while I'm shopping. And when we get out, I'll probably switch to TikTok. We'll walk back on TikTok. But this was thanks for checking out my morning live stream on YouTube. We're on Broadway here, Broadway Street, Chicago, Illinois. This neighbor's called Lakeview. It's 7:35 in the AM, and it's 6 degrees Celsius, or 6 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 5 degrees Celsius. Here's the four sides all over the place. There's two on Clark Street. There's the one on Broadway. You got the disco ball. Look at the nice display with the cards. Tough luck. Oh, the little four-sided chapel. You can go there for Valentine's Day. Hey, there's Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty, how you doing there? Thanks for saying hello. Yeah, the two cats there. Hey, look at the Buddhas. What is this place? Waxing? Oh, it's a nail salon. There's a Lakeview Nail Salon. There you go. Tamo Boba Dessert Cafe. Hey, get your boba tea right here on Broadway. Coffee and drinks. Yeah. Tiemo Boba Dessert. Look at these nice shops here. Yeah. Pliables. Hey, see, there's a grocery store, then there's a health club on the top. I'm sure there's nice views up there. And here, Taco Bell, taco smell. Dave. Fred East Living Studio on the street. Yeah, there's studios, 1 bedrooms, and here I got to cross the street here. So this is Broadway Street. It's looking south. Lincoln Park's that way. Go up Broadway, you eventually get to Uptown. Go through Buena Park there. Buena Vista Terrace, whatever they call that. There's John Sasaki Way there, Broadway, and Wellington. We just crossed Wellington here, Lakeview, Chicago. So I'm gonna head to Mariano's. Thanks for tuning in. Probably about 15-20 minutes. We'll be back on TikTok. We'll just do a super chat, or super friends only chat. Very chill. If I missed your comments there, thanks for understanding there. Thanks to my mods, and we'll here, Friar Chuck. Here's Friar Chuck. We'll see you a little bit on TikTok. At least that's the plan. And then we'll do our lunchtime walk, noon to 1 on YouTube. Thanks a lot, everybody. LA Consignment Shop, Sapphire Nail Salon. What's that? By Choc Choc. K-P-O-P-M-E-R-C-H. How you say that? Here's Murphy's, Club It Up Shop, Payroll Card, Mariano's. So hey, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon, okay? Thanks, Dave. Thanks everybody. All right, bye.